The evening sun cast long shadows across the aged tarmac as the old DC-3 Dakota propeller-driven aircraft hummed its way through the skies over the Atlantic. The drone of the twin engines had a hypnotic quality, a steady rhythm that lulled the few passengers into a trance-like state. Tao, an engineer from Botswana, sat by the window, his dark eyes scanning the endless expanse of water below. He was lured away from his homeland by the promise of adventure and a significant paycheck. His destination was an uncharted archipelago off the coast of West Africa, where a massive development project was taking shape under the direction of the renowned Swedish entrepreneur Sven Hensilklaas. The Dakota, a relic from another era, seemed to embody the spirit of the journey. Its polished aluminum fuselage, though scarred by time and weather, gleamed faintly in the twilight. Inside, the seats were worn but comfortable, covered in a faded green fabric that smelled faintly of oil and aviation fuel. The cockpit door was ajar, allowing Tao glimpses of the pilot's silhouettes against the backdrop of the dimming sky. Their voices, a mix of professional jargon and casual banter, added to the sense of old-world adventure. The plane began its descent, and the island came into view, a dark silhouette against the brilliant orange and pink hues of the setting sun. The airstrip, a narrow ribbon of cracked concrete fringed by dense tropical foliage, appeared almost primitive. As the plane touched down with a shudder and a screech of tires, Tao felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. The door to the Dakota creaked open, and Tao stepped out onto the makeshift stairway. He was a tall, lean man in his mid-30s, with skin the color of rich mahogany. His features were sharp and intelligent, framed by closely cropped hair. He wore a khaki shirt and trousers, the practical attire of an engineer, along with sturdy brown boots that had seen their share of rugged terrain. A leather satchel hung over his shoulder, containing his essential tools and documents. Waiting at the foot of the stairs was Sven Hensilklaas, dressed in immaculate white from head to toe. His linen suit was perfectly tailored, contrasting starkly with his sun-bronzed skin. A wide-brimmed Panama hat shaded his piercing blue eyes, and a welcoming smile played on his lips as he extended a hand to Tao. "Welcome to our little piece of paradise, Mr. Tao," Sven said, his voice carrying a faint Swedish lilt. "I trust your journey was pleasant." "It was," Tao replied, shaking Sven's hand firmly. "And please, call me Tao." "Very well, Tao. We have much to discuss, but first, let me give you a brief overview of the project and introduce you to our team." As they spoke, the tropical evening sounds enveloped them, chirping insects, the distant call of a bird, and the rustling of palm fronds in the gentle breeze. The air was thick with humidity, carrying the earthy scent of the island's rich flora. Sven led Tao to a vehicle parked nearby, an old 1967 Chevrolet Impala. The car, once a symbol of American automotive pride, was now a rusty relic. Its faded red paint was chipped and peeling, and the chrome trim was tarnished. The engine sputtered to life with a reluctant growl as the chauffeur, a wiry man with a gaunt face and a cigarette dangling from his lips, turned the key. "Meet Gabriel, our chauffeur and all-around handyman," Sven introduced. Gabriel nodded in acknowledgement, his expression impassive as he flicked the cigarette butt into the bushes. The drive to the base camp took them through narrow, winding roads flanked by thick jungle. Darkness had settled in, and the only light came from the Impala's dim headlights. The vehicle's suspension groaned with each bump and pothole, and the interior rattled as they made their way deeper into the island. Finally, they arrived at the base camp, a collection of makeshift structures clustered around a central clearing. Sven introduced Tao to a handful of the 37-member team, engineers, biologists, technicians, and support staff, all hand-picked for their expertise and dedication. Among them, Tao noticed two women who stood out. Monica and Letty, both from Botswana, shared a warm smile with him. Monica had a regal bearing, with her tall, slender frame and intricately braided hair. She wore a simple yet elegant dress that accentuated her graceful movements. Letty, shorter and more robust, had an infectious energy about her. Her curly hair framed a face that seemed perpetually alight with curiosity. She wore practical cargo pants and a tank top, her demeanor suggesting a hands-on approach to her work. Tao's thoughts wandered briefly, contemplating the possibilities that 2 years on this island might hold, particularly with such company. Please like, share and subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be notified whenever we upload stories like this. After a brief meal at the canteen, a utilitarian structure with wooden tables and benches under a corrugated metal roof, Tao was shown to his quarters. The meal, a simple yet hearty affair, consisted of grilled fish, rice, and a medley of tropical fruits. The canteen buzzed with the sounds of conversation, the clatter of cutlery, and the occasional burst of laughter, creating a sense of camaraderie among the team members. Tao's tent was spacious but sparsely furnished, with a cot, a small wooden table, and a kerosene lamp. As he lay down, exhaustion from the long journey washed over him. The rhythmic chirping of crickets outside lulled him into a deep sleep. Hours later, Tao was jolted awake by the sound of loud banging noises. He sat up, disoriented, as the sharp, rapid cracks of gunfire filled the air. The unmistakable staccato of AK-47s brought back memories of his military training. Dogs barked furiously, people screamed, and chaos erupted all around. A siren wailed, and an indistinct voice shouted commands in a foreign language over a loudspeaker. Tao hurriedly pulled on his shirt and trainers, his heart pounding in his chest. Stepping out of his tent, he witnessed a scene of utter pandemonium. Mercenaries dressed in black moved through the camp, their faces obscured by balaclavas. The muzzle flashes from their rifles lit up the night, revealing the lifeless bodies of several camp members sprawled on the ground. In the midst of the chaos, Tao saw Sven on the ground on his knees, the armed men surrounding him. The sight sent a jolt of fear through Tao, and as he shut his eyes tight, he heard the unmistakable blast of an AK-47 ring through his ears. His eyes stayed shut. Tao opened his eyes, the piercing ring of gunfire still echoing in his ears. To his shock, Sven was not sprawled on the ground as he had feared. Instead, he stood beside one of the armed mercenaries, engaged in a deep, intense discussion. The mercenary's face was obscured by a balaclava, but his posture radiated authority and menace. As Sven and the mercenary turned to face Tao's direction, Sven pointed him out, speaking in low, urgent tones. A million thoughts raced through Tao's mind. What was Sven saying? Why was he conversing so closely with their supposed captor? As they started walking towards him, Tao's heart pounded, his mind working furiously to unravel the conundrum unfolding before him. Sven then moved away into the shadows, vanishing from sight. The sudden blinding glare of spotlights from an armored vehicle approached, following the mercenary who continued to stride purposefully towards Tao. The brilliance of the lights was disorienting, casting harsh, elongated shadows across the camp. The mercenary reached Tao and commanded him to his knees. His voice was sharp, authoritative. "You," he said, his accent thick and guttural, "you're the one Sven told me about. The midwife with a medical practice in Botswana." Tao was stunned, confusion twisting in his gut. He had never studied medicine, nor had he ever delivered a baby. His thoughts whirled as he struggled to grasp this unexpected twist. He squinted against the harsh light, searching his mind for the right response. Taking a deep breath to steady himself, he opened his mouth and spoke slowly, deliberately. "My name is Tao," he said, "and I am known to wear many hats." The mercenary's eyes narrowed, his expression unreadable beneath the mask. The air was thick with tension, the silence around them pregnant with suspense. Tao's heart raced, each beat echoing in his ears as he awaited the mercenary's next move, unsure of what would come next. Are you captivated by Tao's journey and the mysteries unfolding on this uncharted island? Do you wonder what secrets Sven holds and why he deceived the mercenaries about Tao's identity? To find out what happens next in the Archipelago Chronicles, don't miss out. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Click the bell icon so you can be notified whenever we upload stories like this. Will Tao uncover the truth about Sven's motives? And how will he navigate this web of deception and danger? Join us in the next thrilling episode to discover the answers. Stay tuned.